we'll have this discussion.
Discussion? What discussion?
This is a discussion.
Combustion.
Coming to you from Denver, Colorado. This is Discussion Combustion Podcast with your hosts, Kevin Batstone and Arthur Raw.
Welcome back in. Joining the discussion today, we got Connor back in the building. I'm feeling good, even though it's been a hell of a Wednesday, man. I worked from like 7 a.m. to 5, took like one 15-minute break.
It's good for you.
It was, occasionally you have that high-octane day, and that's definitely what I had today. One thing that helps me always get through those days is the boost from Mountain Made CBD. That's mountainmade.life.
That's right, guys. Head over there and stock up on all of your crystal clear CBD products, the Build, Boost, Recover, Puff. And now, coming soon to shelves near you,
Now being released,
is the new CBD for dogs.
Yes.
It's been in the works for a long time. It's coming. Your pets need a little bit of that. It's got the magnolia in it. It's got glucosamine for their joints, and CBD to ease the pain of the pup. You can't forget about them. Our furry friends,
I mean, CBD helps in so many different ways for so many different people, so why wouldn't it also help our animals out? It's safe. It's safer than, your aspirins or whatever you want to use. I mean, it's better on the liver than any of that stuff. I guarantee it. So definitely check that out, mountainmade.life. Also, if you're doing Sober October, which Kevin and I, we still haven't drank.
Nope.
We're still pushing through it. They do got workouts on there, and an awesome Mountain Made mob of athletes that rep the CBD brand.
Yeah, that's right. And be sure to take advantage of that monthly, auto pay, auto ship service that they launch. Get on there, put in your orders monthly, make sure you get your furry friends included in that, and you're going to save a little bit of money in doing so. Just makes life a lot easier. Just like your Netflix subscription, you go in there, you put what you need, comes to your door each month. You don't have to worry about it. It's out of sight, out of mind, and that's the beauty of working with Mountain Made. It gives you that hashtag go like hell mentality, and you know what? That woof like hell mentality now. And Discussion Combustion is also brought to you by Wild Outdoor Adventures. That's right, and that's WOAMEET.com.
Man, I love Wild Outdoor Adventures, and I never did that. I was trying to see if I could harmonize with you.
Sounded horrible, but we'll let it go.
It was pretty bad. Sorry about that, people. But WOA, we love you guys over there. The website, you could go on there, create an account at no charge. With that, you can see everything that they're doing. Right now is a great leaf peeping time. It's limited. The leaves are all going to fall soon. So definitely go on there, create an account, see what they have happening. A lot of the activities are no charge. They have Hope for Teens, veterans, entrepreneurials. So it's a great website. You can do blogs. It's a community. You call it an online community, kind of.
Yeah, it's more than an online outdoor community. It's bringing people together. Like you said, they can blog, they can try different things, they can create groups. Great way to connect with others, especially if you're here in the Colorado area. You're passing through, you're looking for something to do. This is a great way to see the beauty of Colorado. They're always offering great things for free. Sometimes they're just going up to, grab lunch in Breckenridge. It's as simple as that. It's just doing things, getting people together, getting outdoors, and that's less streaming and more exploring.
Let's jump into the episode, Connor. Repeat guest. You were on when we were audio only. It's good to have you back in the building.
That's right. Yeah, thanks a lot for having me, you guys. Appreciate it.
Yeah, good to see you, man. A lot's been going on this year since we last saw you.
Yeah, just a little bit.
Yeah, it's been, it's been a chaotic year.
Yeah, to say the least.
Yeah, because you were here about eight months ago, something like that?
Yeah, I think it was like February. February, March.
So right before shit hit the fan.
Yeah.
So how did that affect you?
COVID?
Yeah.
I mean, to be honest, not as much as I'd imagine. It kind of affected everyone. I was already working for myself, working from home, so that transition was relatively easy for me. But I mean, with that being said, like it obviously had an impact on like my life. I PolitIQtrivia.com, which I've been kind of working on for the last 2 years. Didn't really miss a beat, so to speak, once kind of all the lockdowns and shutdown happened. And so I guess all things considered, my life hasn't changed all too much, and I'm very grateful for that, at least.
And there's been a lot of content along the way for you to, supply PolitIQ with. A lot of different trivia, right?
Yeah,
a lot of
for sure.
things.
Yeah, and I think, this pandemic has definitely kind of opened people's eyes to why, politics matters and who, in my mind, makes decisions at the federal level, why it matters to have an informed populace, so to speak. And so I think with the pandemic happening and everyone kind of shifting even more of their focus and attention to online conversations and social media and whatnot, it's been somewhat of a blessing in disguise that I've been able to kind of like fill a little bit of that conversation with some content that I hope is informative.
Sure.
So have you seen like an uptick since people have been quarantined more and, in the house more? Have you seen more activity on?
I don't know. It's kind of hard to say. I think, now that it's the elections, a week and a half away, everyone's kind of just burnt out.
Yeah.
And just wants to kind of be done with it. But I mean, like, part of my pitch with PolitIQ is that it's, an easy way to kind of like supplement your news coverage, especially for those who are just kind of just oversaturated with, bullshit and are just tired of politics in general. But still want to kind of remain a little bit engaged in the news. And this is just like an easy way to kind of just like get a brief snapshot of the major headlines without, again, just feeling overwhelmed with all the, nonsense and noise out there at the moment.
It's got a real clean look to it. I mean, every time I pull up social and I see your post on there, and it's real current too, that which I like, because I'll find myself, I can see on Instagram, I can kind of scroll through and see the answers. I'll try answering one and see if I get it right, and it's real relevant to what's happening, which is cool. So I do like that. Like you said, people are tired of seeing the news, including myself. I get most of my news from Twitter, which can be alarming.
Yeah. I want to say I appreciate that you like the look of social, because that's actually one thing that has definitely changed from the pandemic is like I have been responsible for managing a lot of the social media when initially I was kind of like trying to find someone with a little bit more marketing experience to handle that. But, the pandemic happened. Everyone's a little bit more conservative with their money, and, I wasn't able to necessarily hire someone. And so I've been kind of responsible for doing a lot of the social media stuff. And so if you think it looks great, I'm glad to hear it because I have just
it's
no
working.
experience. Yeah, cool.
No, it does look good. And we were just talking off mic, about social media and just the time that goes into it and all that. What have you learned in doing this, and what's effective and what's not effective?
In terms of like social media?
Yeah, and like when you put, new content out, is there a specific thing that you feel people are a little bit more attracted to?
Yeah, I think, I'm kind of learning every day, to be honest. I read a book about different strategies for growing a social media following, and basically it encourages people to focus more on like, platforms that encourage like more sharing, and so like Facebook and Twitter are better for that, especially considering that Twitter has got like a more politically focused audience.
Twitter for sure, yeah.
Yeah. I think just like, creating like new sort of creative content that encourages participation and engagement is key, because and still do it to somewhat of an extent, just kind of just take screenshots and post those. And a lot of people, I think, just kind of swipe through it because it's just not as engaging and fun as, a way that they can kind of feel like they're contributing to the conversation, which is kind of the end goal of PolitIQ in general, just like creating a platform that everyone can contribute to and feel like they're kind of collaborating.
Yeah, and engaging with. And that's
awesome.
After watching The Social Dilemma on Netflix, that was just crazy, the way that they time, as people scroll through, so-and-so spends X amount of time looking at this, and then they can develop algorithms and different things to market that towards you. It's kind of unreal to think about, and it's changed the way I find myself when I'm scrolling now. I'm like, keep going. I don't, it's changed the way I think about it.
Same. I've actually turned off, my girlfriend and I both turned off our notifications for pretty much everything.
That's a good move.
After watching that, because like we just don't want to be, inundated with like constant notifications and updates. And I will say, after we did that, I feel like I got like even more notifications from just like obscure apps that I never use. They're just like
desperate for your attention.
Yeah, exactly. Like
where'd you go, sort of thing.
Yeah.
So we got rid of cable recently, and we just have like the streaming box. And the YouTube that I have on there, like, I'm not logged in or anything, so it was like a baby, fresh, brand new YouTube account. And I had watched The Social Dilemma, so I was like, all right, let me see what I search a couple times, and like I've watched a couple things, and it's interesting to see like how it begins to start to try to cater to what you're gonna want to click on.
Yeah.
And that's what they want, is our time, and that's honestly a super precious thing that we never get back is our time,
Yeah.
And go ahead.
Not to, beat a dead horse with Social Dilemma, but like that documentary kind of exposed one of the things that was the original inspiration for PolitIQ, and that like social media is, designed by algorithms that kind of facilitate the creation of echo chambers, where if you like something or spend more time like reading a particular post, you're kind of siloed into a single conversation and are not exposed to the opposing argument. And so again, like to bring it back to PolitIQ, it's just like it's a way to kind of encourage people who are, in any sort of conversation, especially related to politics, to kind of dip their toe in like an opposing conversation, I guess, so to speak.
but keeping it pretty neutral. It seems like. I mean,
Trying to, yeah.
is because you're a lot of the trivia is based off of facts and what's actually happened around us. So I'm sure some people still look at that as a political bias, but for the most part, you're trying to engage any and everybody.
Yeah, I mean, so I actually had to cut my staff in part because of coronavirus. And so originally I had, a few members from across the political spectrum submitting, their questions based on like what news they were paying attention to each day. But because, cost restraints, I have sort of taken over that responsibility. And part of my daily routine is just like, reading news all the way from like, the Daily Caller, Breitbart to like Huffington Post and everything in between, just to make sure that I have like a full understanding of like what every conversation is and making sure I can kind of like pull at least like one factoid from each.
So let's say like you found a headline, something that you want to like do a question on. So then do you just search that and then find the article on all the different, websites or publishers?
Kind of. I mean, I cheat a little bit in that like I subscribe to like probably 10 to 15 different newsletters that do a pretty good job of kind of aggregating the different news stories each day. And a few of them are really great. Like they'll provide like, all right, here are all the stories trending on the left, here are all the stories trending on the right. So like that kind of heavy lifting is already done. So then, when I find a story, and again, after I like kind of read through everything and get a pretty good idea of like what the important stories are, at least in terms of like impact on like day-to-day life and not like the kind of fluff that I think dominates a lot of the headlines and is essentially kind of irrelevant. Then I'm able to kind of, pick a source or like one story from each of those sources across the political spectrum to include in the 5 questions that I create each day.
Nice.
It's amazing how different the same headline can be written about.
Yeah.
And I try to do the same thing. When I see a headline, I don't just take it at face value, clickbait, all that type of stuff.
Yeah.
Because it can be extremely misleading, bias, what have you. The same article can be written 3 different ways with, heavy opinions behind it.
For sure.
Which influence the reader.
And so I'm trying to like remove that analysis and just like focus on the facts that like all of those different stories and headlines are based on, essentially.
So you almost have to, like you said, look through 15, 20 different, newsletters and different reports that come out to find the substance of what's actually going on. What's fact?
Yeah. Which one that I'm reading is the actual? Because you got to like take it from all of them. Yeah, that makes sense.
Well, there's a lot of spin. There's a lot,
sure.
Even on the facts, you see it spun, and that I think people get caught up in that. And like you said, with the algorithm, that's the type of stuff that's going to pertain to that. That viewer, the reader, whoever it is, that's the stuff they're gonna see. The Fox News, the Breitbarts, the Real Clear Politics, those kind of things.
Yeah. I used to, before this administration, watch almost every White House press briefing in the morning, just so I could get a better idea of like how different networks kind of spin the news coming straight out of the White House. Because, you would watch, the press reporter give their spiel based on like, what the White House wants to communicate. And then like a few hours later, just see how each network has kind of spun it.
Doctored it.
Yeah. To like their own sort of audience. And that I think is obviously something that most people have no interest in doing or no real reason to do. But it kind of helped fuel my desire to always kind of try to find what the main purpose of like whatever news story is making headlines of that particular day.
That's good. I think we need that. There's so much fake news, I guess you can call it, right? There's a lot of that out there, because anybody's a writer now. Anybody can post a headline, write a story about it, get an audience behind it, retweet it, whatever. Yeah. The next thing you know, it's taken at face value. It's clickbait. It's propaganda. I see it.
Yeah. Honestly, I'm a sucker for a lot of satire online. Like I'll be scrolling and I'll like see a meme and I'm like, haha. Like, I think, oh, look at this sap, or like, look how this thing played out. And I have to like remind myself at times because I'll show my girlfriend and she'll be like, it seems like satire, and don't take that for real. And
I mean, if it's kind of like fueling the conversation, I'm okay with it.
Yeah.
I will say I didn't have Instagram until I think like 2 years ago.
I think same
so,
here.
Like, I was like very oblivious to the meme world.
Mm-hmm. I still am.
Oh man, but they're so good.
Yeah, memes can be addicting, and then you're like searching for the right meme. You're like, God, which one's gonna?
As long as that's not like your primary source of information, which I'm sure it's not. But
no, you can't. No.
Yeah.
It makes it fun though. I use the GIFs. I think I communicate with those a little bit. That's probably something that's a little bit mainstream that I do. Because I'm pretty anti-mainstream. It took me a long time to get like a regular cell phone. I had a flip phone for a long time. Nice. It just takes me a while to catch up to what everyone's doing.
Sure.
And I'm all right with that. But I like communicating with gifts from time to time.
Nice. Okay.
Get that emotion across. Arthur doesn't like it. He calls me a cheerleader when I do it. But
Well, because he was the one that was giving us all the hardest time. Like,
it's true.
When we were upgrading to the touchscreen phones, Kevin was like, "Oh, you guys cheerleaders, and you and all your apps and."
Yeah,
and then carrier pigeons sending messages the old school.
Yeah, I was old school for a while. It took me a while to get to join.
Yeah,
Sure.
Yeah, but Kevin jumped on board, and it's fun. You gotta, because technology can make life a lot of fun, and even though there's a lot of downfalls to technology, obviously, it's helped humanity tremendously. Like in healthcare and communication and even war. Like communicating, hitting the right target with the laser guided bombs and stuff.
Absolutely.
Like in World War II, they would have to fly like 50 B-2 bombers over a target and like bomb it, and then 3 of the bombs might hit the factory that they're trying. And now you just got like one cruise missile coming off of like a destroyer in the ocean, and that thing's like right there. So think about like all the lives that have been saved from that technology.
It's innovation.
While also killing lives,
right?
But
collateral lives saved.
I mean, for sure. But to circle back to like the technology that like I and we use on a daily basis, I'm pretty tempted to just straight Ron Swanson it after the election. And
really?
It's like, oh yeah, I've already like strongly considered just like turning off Facebook, all my social media, and just kind of dipping out from social media at least for a little while, just because. I mean, when I read so much news every day, and it's so mentally taxing, and I just want to kind of take a hiatus for a little bit.
I don't blame you, man. I would say you're probably the 5th or 6th guest we've had in the last 2-3 months that have said that same thing.
Really?
They're like, I'm done. They removed all the social media apps from their phone. Like, people just are taking a time out, and honestly, they seem a lot happier.
Yeah, I'm not surprised. I mean,
yeah. I want to get off it too, man. If it wasn't for the pod, I'd be off of it.
Yeah.
Again, it's just so crucial to promote and to reach people and stuff like that. But it's mentally taxing for sure. I find myself getting caught in the scroll, just getting caught in it. What's this? And next thing you know, I'm doing a bunch of research, and I'm trying to go to sleep. It's late, and I'm reading all this shit on Twitter and clicking on the hashtags. You just get sucked in.
Yeah.
So I'd like to take a break from it.
For sure.
I try not to look at my phone for more than like, if I lay down in bed, like more than 30 minutes. So I'm laying down for bed. That's usually around like 9:30 to 10:30. And that way, like, I'm going to sleep by 11 at the latest.
Yeah.
Try to give myself that 30-minute time limit, because you got to wind down. Me personally, like, I lay in bed and I just like process the whole day and like think about every interaction. Like before I go to sleep tonight, I'll be thinking about all the hectic stuff that happened at work and like whatever, and I'll be thinking about the pod and like the little things and doing bad harmony. How am I saying that wrong? But
harmonies.
Yeah, harmonies with Kevin during the ad reads. Like, that was horrible. I'll be thinking about that. And
I already forgot about it.
Yeah, man. So, I process the day, and then looking at social media, that just prolongs like that process of digesting the day. Like, I'm jealous of people who like they lay down and within 10 minutes they're like, yeah, I'm asleep. Like, you hear them breathing hard. And
I can't do that typically, but being 3 weeks off booze, I'm doing better.
Yeah,
sleeping.
I could imagine.
It took, the first week was rough, but now I sleep pretty good. Feeling good without the booze, but I look forward to having a cold one.
Yeah.
Here right around November 1st, right before the election.
Perfect timing.
Right in time to get hammered before Tuesday, But do you think we're going to know who the winner is on Tuesday?
No,
I don't think
way.
so.
There's no way.
It'll at least take a few days. Because,
you think a few days?
Yeah, because a lot of states, I don't think Colorado's one of, actually it might be, a lot of states that have mail-in ballots don't actually allow them, or most states, don't actually allow the election officials to start tallying those counts until Election Day. And because so many people this year for the first time are voting via ballot, it's going to take at least a couple of days for some major swings. And so like one of the sort of major, or I wouldn't say major, but a concern right now is that, a lot of states are not going to be able to actually declare who won until a few days later. But and that's sort of a reason that Facebook, I think, announced that they're not going to allow any kind of, I forgot exactly what kind of information, but political information in terms of like declaring a victor for those particular states until at least like the full tallies.
That
are
makes
red,
sense.
Yeah.
You think we're still going to see the typical, the blue and red states that are almost guaranteed? You think we'll see those declared, or is there still going to be a wait? Because there is so much of a bigger voter turnout this year.
I mean, there should be. I
Yeah.
feel like there should be a wait as long as there's mail-in ballots in that state.
Well, I mean, how many times when you
Is it every state?
Every state?
Having mail-in?
Yeah.
I don't think so. No.
Yeah.
I don't think it's all
yeah.
across the board.
Huh.
But I mean, so many times when you sit there and watch, election headquarters, or whatever, and the results start coming in, it's like 1% of the votes in, and they're projecting a winner already.
Yeah.
Because it's like the exit polls are so dominating for whichever candidate they can call that state.
Yeah.
It'll be interesting to see how the race to 270 is going to look this time.
Yeah. I mean, it's gonna be pretty crazy. I think regardless of the outcome, it's not gonna be a pretty next few weeks, I think.
I'm worried about the stock market, man, because I'm doing day trading this year.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I've been getting, I've been dabbling in it, and I got out. I'm backing out until I see what happens.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to get caught in a 15%, correction, before the election or even right after. So I'm going to wait for things to cool off.
Yeah.
Because you just don't know which way this thing's going to go.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, if you're playing with money in the markets,
It's gonna be pretty
Play it-
volatile.
play it as safe
honestly.
as
It's
you
very
can.
volatile. A lot of people say, "Oh, well, it has nothing to do with it." Well, it does. Absolutely, it does, because it's the stimulus is going to have an impact on investors. The election is going to have an impact on where people are putting their money in which sector. So it has a huge part of it.
Yeah, I mean, and it's not just the U.S. stock market. Like the world is kind of
Mm-hmm.
sitting and waiting, looking to see what the outcome is, holding their breath. I guess. I mean, it's definitely going to have ripple effects around the world for sure.
Oh yeah,
it's a world economy now. Like
Yeah.
the world is not just individual economies at this point in human time. Like it's a world economy. Like if one country's struggling producing goods and they are not doing what they used to be able to do, it's going to affect everybody because every country is intertwined.
Yeah.
And that's another thing technology has done is bridge that gap of lack of communication. So if you had to choose between going backpacking
Okay.
in a foreign country, let's say for a couple weeks or a month, however much time you want,
Yeah.
but you're like staying at hostels. So either you go backpacking in a foreign country, and or would you rather like stay in the States in like a city, in like tourist city that you've never been to before?
Are you talking about like in the next few weeks?
Well, no. If you just had to choose,
like hypothetically.
yeah,
Oh, I
hypothetically,
mean,
if you had to
backpacking
choose,
for sure.
yeah, which country would you go to?
Oh man, that's pretty tough. I mean, I've always wanted to go to India, just because it seems so different, so foreign, I guess. I mean, last time I was here, I spoke about my time living in China. I was able to travel around like Southeast Asia a little bit. I've always just been, I guess, like gravitated towards just exploring India because I know so little about it. I mean, that being said, like there's a million countries that I would love to go to. Greece is always one that I've wanted to check out. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, Bulgaria, like Romania, that sort of like Balkan area has some amazing landscape that I think would be pretty epic to check out. South America, I've never been to. I would love to go. Working my Espanol, which I at one point was pretty decent at, but now it's no bueno.
I took a little Spanish in high school.
Nice.
But it's like it's stuff that's not real helpful. Like the car is red.
Yeah.
Just basic for like when I actually got to Mexico, my girlfriend and I took a trip down there a couple of years ago, and I had to use it in a real life situation.
Yeah.
I got really anxious, chatting with the locals, that I couldn't formulate the sentences I was trying to say. So it just
Nice.
basically ended up turning to hasta luego,
As long as you know Mas Cerveza and Donde está el baño. Está
That's
bien,
pretty much
like,
all
you're
you need.
good. Yeah.
Beer and bathrooms.
You can order
Yeah,
beer.
Yeah.
See,
food.
I even know those ones.
I can
don't
order
know
food.
any
Yeah.
Spanish.
I could get a la hamburguesa con papas fritas.
Nice.
You know?
There you go. Perfect.
So, yeah, I think if I was going to do backpacking, I'm going to New Zealand.
Ooh.
That's where I want to go
Oh yeah,
backpack.
that's a solid
I'm drawn to
choice.
that area for some reason. I want to see Australia, New Zealand, but I'd probably take the backpacking, I think.
Yeah, backpacking over.
Yeah. I mean, I like both, but if I'm going to do backpacking, it's New Zealand.
Yeah. I think, obviously you could always go stay somewhere domestic, but like the backpacking thing is like, that won't happen too often in life.
Yeah.
So now that we're brainstorming, it's kind of obvious. I think most people are going to choose the backpacking.
I don't know about most. I think a lot of people like John X, I think, is going to go to a city and sit down. I don't think
relax.
he's backpacking, but
I mean, because it could be dangerous. Like usually backpacking, like I picture, you don't have too much money. Like, you're kind of like jumping around, like slowly making your way, and like finding people to help you or something.
well, in foreign countries, who knows what?
Well, I don't know. I mean, when I like backpacked around Southeast Asia, I granted I only did it for 3 months, and which was, I mean, plenty of time. But I felt overwhelmingly people I met were like very welcoming, trustworthy, but pretty warm. I was mugged once in Vietnam. But,
Whoa!
But that was
Did they get away with anything?
They got like $20 worth.
Okay.
But he did pull a knife on me, and so that was a little sketchy. But aside from that experience, like everything else, overwhelmingly like warm and receptive people, and it almost like kind of restored my faith in like humanity. And that, like I could be in a completely like foreign country and just feel so, like safe, just kind of like walking around in the middle of the night and not really like have to worry about it too much. Granted, I'm sure there are plenty of horror stories out there that are the complete opposite of my experience. But,
Yeah. I mean that's still. I mean there's good and evil in humanity, and they're both there. And I feel like most people want to be good, even the people who maybe are bad, they struggle because they want to be good and they're like struggling with it, So I could agree with that. Dude, New Zealand. I kind of forgot about that when we were talking about this, but yeah, New Zealand would be an awesome place to do it.
Looks cool.
Or like the old castles and stuff, like somewhere in like Sweden or Norway, like that whole area up there might be pretty cool.
There's a lot of land.
The backpacking though, I think we are unanimous on the backpacking.
Yeah.
That seems simple enough to me.
I mean, that being said, like I don't even need to go abroad. There are plenty of national parks that I've been to that I really want to go to. And like part of the reason my girlfriend and I like moved out to Denver is because we're so much more centrally located and are able to kind of go explore a lot of the natural wildlife around here.
Sure.
Have you been to like like Yellowstone? Either of you guys ever been?
I went with my folks when I was growing up, and that was sweet. And actually we so at the beginning of the summer, my girlfriend and I had a mini COVID scare, and so she couldn't work. I was working from home anyways, and so we took a just spontaneous road trip up north to Wyoming, and we took our dog, and we didn't realize that dogs are not allowed in national parks, and so we were not able to actually go to Yellowstone, even though we were like right there.
So
we
you
went
drove
to,
all
like,
the way up there.
Yeah, we went to like Tetons and a few national forests and stuff, and still like made a decent trip out of it. But we weren't able to go to Yellowstone. And honestly, like in hindsight, it's probably for the best, because I think I just saw a headline that Yellowstone was just slammed with tourists this summer.
I bet. People were looking for things to do. I mean, all the outdoor shops, were blown out of everything.
Yeah.
Tents, rafts.
I bought some stock in Dick's Goods, like right at the beginning of this. Yeah, because I figured exactly that. Like everyone's going to be like, oh shit, what am I going to do this summer? Like, may as well.
Bought some stock in Dick's Sporting Goods. That was a good move.
Yeah.
That's a good move. Do you do a little bit of stock trading?
No. I mean, I have like an app.
Robinhood?
Yeah, just to like learn how to do it, because I've always been fascinated by it, but I wouldn't say I am good at it by any means, or am putting a lot of money into it. It's the same sort of thing with like DraftKings. Like I have a very little amount of money in it, just so that I can kind of like practice and
just so you can kind of dabble around. Yeah, that's good.
And not look like an idiot when I'm talking about like odds and stuff.
Yeah, I haven't messed around with DraftKings, but I do love Robinhood. And one of the things I love that PayPal actually just added today, I don't know if you saw that, was the cryptocurrency. Oh, okay. You can trade Bitcoin, which I'm really interested in getting involved with.
Nice.
It's ripping right now.
I have a little familiarity with Bitcoin, because that's how I used to pay one of my early developers for PlotIQ.
Was through Bitcoin?
Yeah.
It really, the more that the dollar depreciates, I think the more valuable cryptocurrency is going to become.
Yeah.
And a lot of these experts are saying that Bitcoin is going to go to 100K. Worth 100,000 here in the next 2 years. It's trading at around 12,000 right now. You don't need to buy all 12,000 of it. You can do fractional shares, of course, but you're still going to get those percentage gains. I'm really thinking that Bitcoin might be where the money's at right now, if you're looking for a long-term hold. I mean, cryptocurrencies, I think, is going to be a huge part of the way we, So
I don't know much about cryptocurrencies. Like,
it's fairly new.
I could use a lesson. Like I know Bitcoin is like and then like it would like go up and down, and like people would like people would get ripped off for their Bitcoin or something. Like, I don't know enough about it.
Yeah.
Well, it trades like stocks, essentially, where and it trades 24 hours a day, unlike the stock market.
And there are also a ton of different cryptocurrencies now. I
Right,
think
yeah, you
Bitcoin
got
is probably like
crypto
the original,
gold.
right, yeah.
Yeah, there is a lot. Bitcoin's really the only one I'm looking at right now just because it's so hot.
What's
the
the actual
safest.
value then? What people put into it, and is that from any different type of currency from around the world?
Yeah, it trades worldwide.
And also, like, I think you can essentially like mine Bitcoins, and that like you have to have like a server strong enough to actually like run some kind of code where you're just like generating Bitcoins. I would assume you need some large computer apparatus to make that happen.
Yeah, I was just talking to my my day trader today about that, in fact, and he said there's about 7 or 8 million Bitcoins still that can be obtained the way that you're saying through massive computers in the way, because 21 million of them, I think there's 28 million out there. 21 have been discovered. There's still another 7 or 8, for grabs. I don't really know what that means.
So like, what's the value of one Bitcoin?
Right now it's 12,000 American dollars.
Really?
Yeah. That's what it's trading at, give or take. And that just went up 12% in the last 2 days. So these guys that bought in when it was at 10,000, they made the 13, 15% gains on it. Even if you threw in $1,000, $1,000, $500, whatever it is, you're still going to make your gains on it. You can buy, secure your profits, buy it again. It just seems like a good opportunity to get involved with cryptocurrency right now. I might look into it.
Dude, I'm still hesitant to bet like $10 on like an easy football game. I don't know if I'm gonna pull the trigger and invest in much. I mean, I kind of agree with you. It's definitely like an emerging market, so to speak, I guess. But yeah, I definitely, like, you don't know enough to actually like invest much into it.
Yeah, and I don't either, and that's been fun about trading stocks this year. Is I really just got into it, and the success that I have had has given me a little bit of courage to keep doing it. Yeah. But just the volatility right now with the election, I'm kind of on the sidelines. Yeah. Especially with my 401, because I swing trade that as well, which is really dangerous. Yeah. But I've had a lot of fun doing it, and I haven't lost anything as of yet. So stay tuned. That could change. You might have a podcast of me being, I broke out in the stock market, but right now I just want to stay out and see what happens. Yeah. Because so many people are taught to buy and hold. You're just buy and hold, don't look at it, don't worry about it. Next thing you know, like when COVID hit, people got slammed with a 15-20%, drop. Mm-hmm. Had you, had backed out and put that into a stable preservation account before that, you would have secured your profits. But coulda, woulda, shoulda. I'm not a stock market expert, but it's fun to.
You know enough because you've been trying, though. Yeah. And that's the thing.
Yeah.
Like I have to put myself through the ringer on stuff to actually learn it. Like I've learned that it's not, I don't pick things up and just make it happen that easily. Got to keep working. So people who are working out there are anti-poachers, things of that. So would you rather be an anti-poacher in Africa, like, saving all the rhinos, like all the elephants, anti-poaching in Africa? Yeah. Or would you rather be on a boat, like a vessel in the Arctic Sea, going after anti-whalers?
Well, man, that's interesting because I don't really do well in the heat. I feel like I prefer cold, but I also don't do well in water. Like, I get seasick. Just
really?
Like, yeah. So I don't know. I'd probably have to go with anti-poachers in Africa. Plus, I'd probably get to hold like an AR-15 or something. That'd be kind of cool.
Yeah. Then you'd go to South Africa.
Yeah.
Is South Africa part of like the big wildlife preserve and all that?
So Tanzania, I think, is just north of there, and I think they have got one of the biggest like safari or just like natural habitats where a lot of the animals that you see being poached are. And I have a few friends, but also my dad worked in South Africa, like Johannesburg, for when he was like my age, and so he's always been trying to go back there for a little bit. And so I to answer your question, it's anti-poacher for sure.
Yeah, I'm saving the rhinos.
Yeah, I'd probably do that. I think that's there's a lot of that going on over there. But you're right, the heat would be a battle. Being out there baking in the sun, trying to hunt these guys down. They're dangerous. Yeah. A lot of people doing survival missions over there, they end up getting taken out by these guys.
Do they? I've never done much research on it.
I feel like and now that I think about it a little more, I feel like I'd be the one like trying to like walk up and like talk to these guys. Like, look, guys, I know you're super poor and you like need to hunt down this elephant to like make ends meet and whatnot, but let's just like sing Kumbaya and be a happy family. And here's another me. I mean, obviously not like that, but I feel like I would be like more interested in trying to pursue like other efforts to prevent like the initial action of trying to hunt down large animals.
Yeah.
I know it sounds like the biggest hippie take you guys have ever heard, but you know,
No, hey,
I got my man bun. I'm full hippie mode at this point.
do you feel like you're a hippie?
Bring on the hippie. Modern day hippies
yeah,
in the
I mean-
house.
Modern day hippie?
I don't know, like kind of. I feel like I've definitely completed my Denver startup kit. Like I got the long hair, I got a dog and a Subaru, so I'm like,
yeah.
pretty much
You're Colorado ready to rip.
yeah. But hippie, I don't know. Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
It was a long time ago, probably like episode 3 or 4. I was like, yeah, I'm a modern day hippie.
Yeah.
My dad calls me a modern day hippie because I'm like, you know, at the time when he called me that, I was like doing construction while also freight brokering. So like, you know, I had some customers and would just get loads and post the loads and then get a call and then book a truck on it. And I would like do that and then go book them on the load and then go like build a deck. So I was like doing both and smoking weed all day. So he was like, son, you're just a modern day hippie, you know, because I'm like puffing tough, as they like to say.
Yeah.
But you know, I'm going. I mean, okay, so the anti-whalers, like those boats, like what they do, like they have their big vessel, and then they go out on their little dinghy boats and like go up to the big whale shipping boats and, you know, spray water at them or like have the microphone telling them to stop.
Yeah.
And that's just crazy because you get, you know, whaling boats from all these different nations. So it's like you got to figure out how to communicate with these people, and then like boats are ramming boats and stuff. I don't know if I could do that.
Seems pretty wild.
That seems pretty rough.
I'm reminded of this South Park episode where it's essentially making fun of whale wars, you know, and they're like making fun of the fact that like, yeah, you know, they're doing like a good, you know, thing, but they are using methods that are just like ineffective, like throwing stinky butter and shit like that. And,
Stinky butter.
yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's a great episode if you're at all curious. Check it out. on your
Yeah.
own
South
time,
Park.
but-
I still haven't seen the pandemic special. I'm behind.
Oh, it's good.
Is it good?
Yeah, I like
I used to watch it religiously, but like over the past 5 years, I haven't.
same. Yeah,
You know?
I watched the special, and aside from that, I haven't watched it in a few years.
It always entertained me. I mean, I grew up in New England, so watching it before I even lived in Colorado, you know, I loved it. I was a Beavis and Butthead guy, and then South Park,
yeah.
you know, tremendous. Great stuff. And then I came out here, I was like, I got to go to Fairplay. I got to see South Park. And I was actually just there a few weeks ago. And really all you see in that town is like, there's a gas station that has Mr. Hanky on the side and like some South Park shit in the store.
Yeah.
Other than that, there's not, you know, it's kind of loosely based around that town.
I also was there like a month ago.
Really?
Yeah.
Nice.
I was doing some like camping down there. Drove through it for the first time.
Where'd you guys camp?
Buena Vista one night.
Mm-hmm.
Further south near I forgot what that road is, but just like down. If you drive south of Buena Vista, like an hour.
Oh, yeah, down towards like Salida.
Yeah, Salida.
Yeah.
Slida's
It's like there's a
awesome.
river that runs
Salida's
along there.
pretty sweet. Yeah.
Buena Vista's beautiful. Mount
It is.
Antonino or whatever it is right there, that huge
Yeah.
mountain when you come into town.
Yeah, I really want to get into like mountain biking, and I feel like that'd be a great place to like go once I
Buena Vista?
can do that.
You gonna
yeah.
be a downhill Bill or an uphill Gil?
Oh, downhill for sure.
Downhill Bill.
Yeah,
Yeah, downhill.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to go going up the hill.
no way.
I haven't done any
Yeah.
Colorado mountain biking, but I'd imagine it's pretty alarming. There's a lot
Yeah.
going on. I mean, a lot of steep grades, rocks, roots.
Yeah, people are probably pretty extreme here. I would need to definitely work my way up. To
Yeah.
that
Dude,
level.
they go hauling ass. Like I'll be hiking sometimes just on a trail, and then all of a sudden like this biker comes barreling down, and I'm like, it's just crazy. And then those videos where they're like rock jumping and stuff, like the balance that these
like
guys
on one
have.
tire.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely a skill. Like I would have to hone my bike skills. I can't even bike 3/4 of a mile without getting super winded and feeling
Oh,
like
yeah.
I jogged a mile in the freezing cold air.
You got to work your way up.
Like my lungs will die.
Can you bunny hop?
Maybe. I don't know. After this ankle injury, I don't know.
That's true.
I don't know what I could do.
Yeah, that's true.
So that's one thing that happened since I seen you last, dude. I got the worst ankle bust of my life.
Oh yeah.
Like
What
I
happened?
wore just steps weren't level, and like the last step was further down than the other ones, and I was carrying a shit ton of luggage and stuff.
Yeah.
And so it was a lot of weight that like just rolled it. And
I feel like you need a cooler sword than that.
oh, dude, I know, but I can't lie, and that's what happened. And
Yeah.
it just
That sucks. Yeah.
yeah, so that's one thing. I had one more would you rather here, but I didn't remember off top of head what it was. So oh yeah. So if you had to pick between getting like a big old cozy comfy recliner, right? Or or like a huge soft like big comfortable couch with an ottoman. You know, which one would you go with?
I mean, I feel like the couch, right? Like, get to share it with, you know, girlfriend and your dog, a little more spacious. Probably that. I'd say if there was a third option, to get one of those beds in like Wallace and Gromit, you know, that like, you know, it springs up and like you fall down into your clothes and you're just like ready to go in the morning. Like
That's like the claymation one, right?
Yeah, like that old school thing.
Okay.
I'd definitely go for that.
I'd probably try that. I don't know if I know much about that, but I'm probably going to go with the recliner maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I love couches, you know, we do naps on them, but I've slept drunk in a recliner a few times. You got to be drunk though to sleep in a recliner for me. I can't just lean back and you know, catch some Z's.
Yeah.
Most times I pass out hammered in a recliner and I'm in there so long that my feet go numb.
Nice.
You know, because my legs are hanging over the side. So.
Oh, well, isn't it reclined?
Yeah, but not necessarily. I just sat in it. That's as far as I made it.
Oh, okay. So you're just sitting, not utilizing the recliner.
Yeah.
And falling asleep. But if your feet are hanging, like how do they hang if it's not reclined?
Well, they're dangling off the side, so it's cutting off the circulation of my feet, Arthur.
Okay.
And that's some of the drinking stories that have put me in a recliner. So,
Because you know, I could recognize that. Like, you know, you sit on the john too long.
oh, I've done that. Yeah.
Like your feet go numb. And you're like, it's time to get off of this. And
Way
in
too
that
long.
moment, we're all victims of social media. Because
Or
doesn't
games.
nobody take that long on the john?
Isn't there like nothing worse than like sitting down to like drop some heat and then being like, oh shit, I don't have my phone.
It is
Like,
a weird
what
feeling.
am I supposed to do? Like stare at the wall? Like,
It is a weird feeling going.
Just take that moment to meditate, man.
Just sit there and count the cracks in the floor. You know.
yeah,
Do art. I mean, there's probably something.
yeah.
Focus on your breathing and
But who's
like,
kidding?
Breathing like in a enclosed space with that going on. I don't know.
With that aroma.
get
See,
intimate with yourself.
I've changed the game when it comes to dropping heat, because we're going down this road now. Is the flush technique? You know,
okay.
right as you're starting to make your deposit, the water's already going.
That's a good euphemism.
I'm telling you, man, it changes the game, and it doesn't smell as bad.
Nice. Okay.
But then you're like dealing with like this splashback all over.
It depends on the toilet you're using.
You know, I mean, but there's always going to be microparticles of water that's why they tell you like when you flush your toilet, like make sure that you like close the lid, because like the microparticles go everywhere. And if you got your like toothbrush just sitting out next to the sink,
it's going to get contaminated.
guess what's getting hit? Yeah, so either like shut the lid.
So with you sitting on it, you're containing some of that.
Well, yeah, but then you're still getting it. You know,
That's right. I'll shower later.
Yeah, it's a risky technique.
Yeah, all I'm
That's what
saying
I'm
is
saying.
it's helped the game, but yeah. Now we're going off the rails.
Whatever
Yeah,
happened
yeah,
to poopery?
Oh,
Whatever happened to that?
First of all, they still make it.
Yeah.
You ever see that stuff?
No.
It's like the flowers that like you put in the toilet.
No, it's not flowers. It's a spray.
Dude, no, old school.
Oh, you're talking about
like
the
the
hippie
actual.
stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like the
I just
the
go with the scented candle. I mean, it's
Yeah.
scented candles work. The poopery I'm thinking of is a spray. And their motto is you spritz the bowl before you go and nobody else will ever know.
Ah,
And it creates a
it's funny that
barrier.
you know that.
Well, let me,
Are you a spokesperson for them? And you're
no, I probably could be. Poopery, we could be a sponsor for them, you know. No, we had it in the house as a kid. I remember it. I think like
nice.
mom got it as a gag gift or something.
Oh, nice.
That's
Okay.
funny.
And then it just was on the back of the toilet. But
Speaking of pooping, one of the things that I've done a little bit of over quarantine is just like some art. So my girlfriend like went to Michael's and got a bunch of like canvases.
Oh,
And
nice.
so I'll connect it to poop in a sec.
I was like, this is a major segue.
Yeah. No, like so we just like have a glass of wine and turn on like a not Bob Saget. How am I blanking on his name?
Bob Ross.
Yeah, Bob Ross.
The man.
Yeah, exactly.
Happy
and just
trees.
and just like start painting. And we had
beautiful.
nowhere to like hang it all, so we just like hung it in our bathroom and called it our poop gallery. and so that's been like a nice sort of like cathartic way to just like turn off everything.
And just look at art.
Just like do some art and have a good time.
It
fun, man.
is fun. I did one of those classes where it was like my girlfriend and I, some of her friends, and then like a teacher. And it took like 4 hours for this. Like it was like a Colorado sunset thing with the big sea and then like the clouds, mountains, and some water. But it took forever.
Yeah.
And by the end of the night, like we had drinking way more than we thought we would while we were painting. And we're
That's a
like,
given.
and our arms are killing us because but there's a power and an energy to like an art piece and an original art piece. Like if it's a duplicate, you're not going to get the same energy. But I'm telling people, if you're feeling just, and I've mentioned the trees before, like if you're feeling down, you know, just take a moment, look at the trees and appreciate them because they give us oxygen. They're life sustaining. Like it's a powerful symbol. And like original art also does that same thing. Like, you know, if you're looking at it, it's original art, it's going to give you good feels.
Yeah.
But you got to hone into that and like become one with it.
I don't do a lot of art, but my girlfriend, speaking of the canvases, she's gotten into flow painting, which is acrylic paint on a canvas. So, you know, basically it looks messy, but it's a lot of fun. I mean, because it is like you got to put shit down because you move the canvas around it to have the paint kind of flow over it, and you end up with this really cool pattern. It creates like cells and stuff.
Nice.
Use a little bit of silicone oil. My paintings just kind of look disastrous when I do them.
Yeah.
You know, I don't really have the technique. I don't think. I'm just splashed. I mean, I feel like a 4-year-old when I do it.
Comes out like a Rorschach painting or something. Where
Yeah.
you're like, yeah, that's what I was going for.
That's pretty much what I said. I was like, yeah, that's what I was trying for.
Nice.
You know, I've never been much of an artist. I never had the touch. I mean, my stick figures always look real rough. You know? Real rough.
Dude, I used to go super duper hard, like when I was like 11 or 12 with like the stick figure battles, like in the classes. Like I'd be, you know, drawing the dudes with guns and like acting like they're moving around, and like by the time I was done, like
flip through the book. You mean? Like,
well, no, just on
the action ones. Yeah,
but just on one page, and I'm like drawing it all, and by the time like the battle was over, like the page is all marked up everywhere. And,
nice.
Yeah, that was fun back in the day. You know, that was like
pre-cell phone entertainment.
An RTS
I was gonna say, like,
before I had
remember
one.
like how easily we were entertained before, like, I mean, cell phones. Essentially.
Sure.
Like,
I remember when the first Game Boy came out. I wasn't allowed to utilize that at school.
Yeah.
You know, that was like, okay, you've gotten your shit done, you can use it.
Yeah.
You know, and that was like one of the first handheld distractions that I think we had, or at least I did, growing up in the the 90s.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I was outdoors, man. Playing in the dirt.
Same.
Fortunate. I mean, I've said this before. I'll probably say it again. But like, I'm happy that, you know, I grew up without a cell phone. Like, I didn't have a flip phone until I needed to buy one.
Yeah.
You know, and so to be detached from that, you know, growing up your whole life, it's different now. You know, with people in front of screens, like, and it hasn't even been that long yet. What do you think? Like late 90 kids, early 2000 kids have always had a screen in their face?
Pretty much.
You know, something
to
like
some
that.
degree.
So we don't even know. Those people aren't even like 30 or 40 yet. So like we don't really even understand like how their lives
like
and how their mentality.
Effects,
It's
and that was like one of the more interesting parts of, I mean, again, to bring back to Social Dilemma, it's just like how like there is I don't know if like correlation is the right word, but like a trend with social media and like technology and like suicide rates among young people and how they are just like so over consuming and it's almost as if they have like two personalities, one that exists in the real world that like for a lot of young kids now like is almost like second nature, whereas like their main personality is online, and that's fucked up. I mean, it's scary.
It is, because it's fake in a sense, and they're turning to that for validation.
Yeah.
You know, that's where they get the dopamine, and the high comes from how many likes, who commented, someone shared, so-and-so got jealous. You know, it's just this weird reality that has been created, and the younger generation's the one that's going to suffer from it. They're already dealing. I mean, when I was 14, 15, I had my own issues as it was. Yeah. You know, hormones are raging. I didn't have a lot of that shit. Like MySpace, I think, was just kind of coming around. You know, it was just different. Yeah. AOL Instant Messenger, you know, I think I've mentioned that a few times. That was the big thing, you know. Doo-doo-doo. You know, you hear that sound, you're like, yeah, someone's chatting with me. Emails, things like that. Yeah. Now it's everything's instant. You know, Facebook Messenger, all this shit. Snapchat. I mean, I'll just sit. I was getting my oil change, sitting there with our masks on, just looking around. Nothing's, you know, everybody's on their phone sending, you can hear the notifications going off. Doo-doo-doo-doo. Yeah. Doing the Snapchats, doing all that stuff.
But that's also not a problem that's like unique here. So one of the first things I noticed when I was in China was that like literally everyone was just like glued to their phones.
It's amazing.
And yeah, it sucks because like you can't like have like an honest conversation. You can't like with a complete stranger. I mean, you can, but it's almost like weird.
You're like pulling them away from their device.
Yeah, everyone just like lives in their own sort of ecosystem and is completely uninterested in kind of like venturing out.
It's amazing.
And that sucks. I mean, again, which is why I want to channel my inner Ron Swanson and just say, fuck it.
Throw away the computer. That episode where it's like, oh, cookies, you don't know what those are? Well, you know, they basically figure out your IP address, so then they blah, blah, and then like He's like, wait, they know what I'm, and then he fucking hucks the computer in the dumpster.
Yeah,
it's hilarious. I know you haven't watched a lot of Parks and Rec, but you should check. Ron
just watch
Swanson's
like
a great
the YouTube
character.
highlights. If anything,
he is funny.
Yeah,
I like his comedy. I like a lot of stuff he does. I'm going back through The Office again, so
nice.
I'm on season 4.
Oh, it's great.
It's my second time through.
Yeah,
Nice.
Jim and Pam got back together for me.
Yeah, well, they got together.
To get together for the first time, but for me, it's back together because I've seen it like 4 times.
So he asked her out, Then he proposed to her at the gas station. Great show.
Classic.
Great show.
Speaking of like media, I recently rewatched Battle Los Angeles, and The Outpost.
So I haven't seen that. Clint
great.
said,
It's
our guest last week, he told me to watch The Outpost.
It's a good movie.
Yeah, I started it.
Yeah.
I got into it. Something came up. I've been kind of getting in. I watched Hacksaw Ridge a couple weeks ago. Have you seen that?
Yeah.
What
With
an epic movie.
Andrew Garfield.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of him.
Yeah.
After his performance in The Social Network and then Hacksaw Ridge, and I love Vince Vaughn, so it was cool to see him in a military role. Great fucking movie though.
Yeah.
True story.
Yeah.
This guy was a badass.
Yeah.
Never fired a single shot.
That's
Yeah.
crazy.
Was just out there as a combat medic, just getting it done.
See, it's not even balls at that point. It's like it's something else that
conviction,
yeah,
like
driving
pure-
you to help, like the need to want to help so bad. It's not even being ballsy. It's just like that dude must have just had such a huge soul. Like
That movie moved me to tears.
Yeah.
That scene where everyone's bailing over the edge, and he's looking back, and he's like, okay, I'm going in. Just like the courage and the bravery. I would have been fucking, on the other side of that rope, I'm out of here.
Yeah.
In the trenches, taking grenades, let's go. But this guy had the balls to stay there through the night, saving endless amount, like 75 guys he lowered down. It was something unreal. And it was all true story.
Yeah.
So there's I forget the name of the person, but it was a Confederate soldier who during one of like the big battles, like in the Gettysburg, something similar to that, was just helping people from both sides, the Yankees and the Confederates, and like people like both sides wouldn't like, they noticed, and like everyone kind of just left him
alone.
Yeah,
That's cool.
and so like there was like a statue that was made after him. I mean, there's some acts of valor, man. Like I would like to think like I would be that selfless and put my life on, but would I? Like I don't know.
It's tough to say until you're in that situation.
I mean, given like how much of a wimp I've acted just like playing paintball. I mean, I'm not gonna like pretend like I would be like, like no,
It
like,
hurts.
you win, dude. I'll tap out.
Yeah, it hurts.
Yeah.
I've been hit by a few paintballs. It's not pleasant.
Yeah.
Definitely
fun,
painful.
Yeah.
BB gun. I took one of those to the kneecap one time. That hurt.
Oh shit.
That was a drunken round of bonfire night, but
Nice.
nonetheless, it hurt.
Yeah.
So
we got a word of the week, right?
Yeah, we did.
From across the pond this time.
yeah, we do. We had a submission. Let me see if we can get that pulled up here.
Across the pond. All right.
Yeah.
We have. This is from Jason.
Thank you, Jason.
What's up, Jason?
Yep, and he is out of Bristol, England.
Okay.
So, and the word of the week coming across the pond, guys, is scrumpy.
Scrumpy.
Nice.
Yep, scrumpy is the word of the week. As you guys know, you can send in your word of the week submissions, social media, discussioncombustion.com. Join the discussion over there. Send in your word of the weeks, and this week comes across the pond, and it's scrumpy.
Scrumpy.
Yep. I love the British words, man. These guys have fun words. So, obviously, I'm looking at the definition. Do you guys have any guesses?
I immediately am thinking like scrumpulous.
Like scrumptious?
Scrumptious.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I could see that.
Yeah, that's what I'm looking for. But like a cheaper version of it. It's like, oh, that's scrumptious. Whatever. How you
Scrumptious?
Scrumptious. Yeah. But it's also like, So it's scrumpy.
It's scrumpy. Yeah. Yeah, I could totally see food related. That makes sense.
It's definitely an adjective.
Okay.
Maybe something that like is like subpar. I'm gonna say, like something that's like mediocre.
Like, yeah, that's scrumpy.
Yeah.
It's scrumpy, as the Brits would say.
Oh, I was thinking of the word scrupulous too.
So
No. Okay.
it's a type of cider.
Scrumpy.
Scrumpy is a type of cider, and it separates itself from traditional ciders. And scrumpy is used to refer to what was otherwise a rough or harsh cider made from unselected apples. So it's basically a hard cider that's not very pleasant.
Define unselected, like ones that are just like sitting on the ground or something.
Yeah, maybe like some like rotten apple cider is what I'm gathering.
So is that alcoholic?
Well, let's see. What's the difference between cider and scrumpy? Scrumpy is it's a rough cider, is what they say.
Huh.
It goes through the natural fermentation.
So it's probably alcoholic.
Yeah. But it says traditional cider is, sparkling, it's carbonated, whereas scrumpy is just a rough, natural, kind of rugged apple cider. That's what I'm gathering.
So it's like the moonshine version.
Yeah, it's kind of what it
like-
sounds like.
Nice.
So
those
it's like
Brits,
pine,
man.
pine cone tea.
They're kind of old school with that. It's like real country over there in some parts.
Yeah.
You know?
Nice.
So,
That's a good one.
yeah, thanks, Jason, for sending that in.
Yeah, I mean, I wonder if I'll ever try some scrumpy now.
I want to go over
Is
there.
it worth trying the scrumpy?
I'll give it a go.
You know, I think it'd be worth trying.
Scrumpy. So,
Especially if it's one of those things that when you try it, like you're like, oh, I'm like, dude, you gotta try this, and you're like, no, I'm not trying it. I saw you try it. No, you gotta try it with me, and then they try it, and you're like, oh, isn't it adorable?
I mean, yeah.
I drink apple cider vinegar every day.
Okay, really?
Yeah, I take a shot of it just right off the bottle for health reasons.
Okay.
Yeah, I have acid reflux, GERD, cholesterol issues. So instead of taking the, big pharma shit, they say that apple cider vinegar a shot a day can like really help, with different medical things. Cuts through
Nice.
cholesterol, it cuts down on acid reflux. So it's literally the most disgusting thing I've ever tasted.
I can imagine. Yeah.
Oh, it's horrible.
Yeah.
Apple cider vinegar. But if it's working for me, then I'm going to keep doing it.
Nice. Okay.
So
Yeah.
So were you doing that before Sober October?
Yep.
And when you started that, did your heartburn go away a little bit?
Well, I was
Do you
still
think
drinking
it
so
can-
much alcohol.
Yeah.
It's tough to say. But I'm not taking the omeprazole.
Are you
Which
still taking shots of the apple cider
Every day.
right now? Okay.
Yeah, every day.
is that like a
Interesting.
morning thing or like
After work.
Okay.
Yeah, I try to treat it like a whiskey shot. They say you're supposed to dilute it with like
Yeah.
water and honey. I don't have time for that. I just pull it right off the bottle and get on down the road.
Water or honey? Probably some honey would make.
It'll yeah.
That,
'cause
no,
it's
because that's gonna ruin honey for you if you're doing that.
Yeah. This is kind of random. Have you guys ever heard of Malort?
What's that?
It's a alcohol that's famous in Chicago. I think it's like a Polish alcohol. I think it's like a grain based, like a rice liquor. It just tastes horrible.
What's it called?
Malort?
Lord. It's Polish.
But I think so. I could be wrong. But the only reason I bring it up is because like it's got a special affinity for anyone from Chicago, because it tastes so bad that like anytime anyone like comes and visits Chicago, you're like, oh dude, we got to get you a shot of Malort. It's so good, you're gonna love it. And then you just like look at their face to see how they respond to it, and it's horrible. But that being said, I actually don't mind it all that much, and so.
Well, you were
Mom's-
saying you like the cheaper whiskeys and.
Only because I'm stingy. But, not like if I could choose, I'd probably get something
Yeah.
a lot better. Yeah.
I mean, do you ever get like flush or anything where like because like the Mike's Hard, those high sugar drinks, like I'll drink them and become like short of breath and like blotchy red. Do you ever get that from any kind of
no,
alcohol?
I don't really get like flush, but
Yeah.
like the hangovers are just like way worse
Oh,
for
yeah.
sure. Yeah.
yeah, anytime sugar is involved with alcohol, it's
Yeah.
gonna be rough. Like Fireball, I can't do
Yeah.
it. I can't do it. Just thinking
That's
about
like
it.
straight syrup.
Yes,
It's-
dude, I can't. Cold or warm, I don't want it.
I can't do Fireball. Even like Jack Fire, they have their version of it. Just that like cinnamon whiskey, I think I overdid it.
Just give me straight whiskey.
Camping one night. Yeah, just
Yeah.
straight whiskey.
I'm like getting back into gin now.
Gin? Like gin and tonic or?
Yeah, I mean gin and tonics. My friend actually just gifted me a bottle of like Bombay Sapphire gin, which he just like hasn't drank and didn't like. And so it's always just been like kind of refreshing to me. It's like drinking like toothpaste essentially.
Wow.
Not that like really sounds all that like appealing, but it I don't know.
Like Rumplemints? Rumplemints I feel like tastes like toothpaste.
Yeah, yeah. It's just kind of got like that like juniper like
Mm-hmm.
taste to it. So you're just like, all right.
Yeah, see, I don't mind having like a vodka with like sparkling water and like lemon lime in it. Like just
Yeah.
a simple drink like that also kind of hydrates me
Yeah.
at the same time.
I feel bad talking about alcohol, given that you guys are still doing.
Well, we've
Sober
been holding
October.
strong.
Yeah, we're doing all right.
The cravings have not been as serious as they were last year. I
Yeah.
failed at 21
So
days
you guys
last
do this
year.
every year.
So this is
Yeah.
my third year. It's our second year doing it with the podcast.
Nice.
So hopefully our listeners are still going strong.
I'm going to go the whole way without smoking or drinking. As I disclosed last week, I have had a couple edibles. So
I have too.
So I'm doing sober October, but I'm still maintaining smoke-free. I'm still maintaining drink-free.
No alcohol.
And
This is probably a good time to
it's been
like
feeling
not
good.
be inhaling any kind of smoke in your lungs.
I know
Yeah,
with
we
the air
got enough of
quality
it here in Denver.
Air
sucked.
quality, yeah. My car was like, I haven't driven it in a few days. It was like covered in ash.
Yeah.
Just now driving over
It's
here.
bad. It's been some of the worst wildfires we've had. I mean, Glenwood was closed down for like almost 10 days, something like that. I-70 through there. California's been burning up. It's just been a rough, season for it, I guess you could
Yeah.
say, in general. Hurricane season, though, didn't seem too wild this year. What was it?
Don't we
no,
still
it
have
has
some?
been. I mean, like they exhausted all of the hurricane names like a month and a half ago.
Did they?
Yeah, so they're using like the Greek alphabet right now for only the second time in like the history of like NOAA, which is the organization that actually like names all the
The National Oceanic,
Atmospheric, and something.
Yeah. I used to go to them for my weather quite often.
Nice, yeah.
Just
Hemisphere.
detailed weather reports. But yeah, I guess you're right, because there are a lot of tropical depressions, a lot of storms kind of didn't hit land per se. But
Yeah.
I don't know, what was the most recent one that came up through the Gulf?
Delta.
Yeah, it was the Delta one, I'm pretty sure.
It kind of hit just off New Orleans, I think, just west New Orleans.
Louisiana. Yeah.
Those guys,
They deal with that
I
constantly.
mean, Katrina was Control-Alt-Deleted that city.
Yeah.
But, I mean, that's what you get for building a city underwater, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, they're not alone. Like Miami, they're dealing with rising oceans and stuff, and I couldn't imagine like having to like imagine like how much insurance costs there, just like hurricane insurance.
Oh, I can't.
Especially now, like oh my god.
Unreal.
Yeah.
It's like the hail damage here in Colorado. I mean, that's kind of a Midwest thing, I feel like. You see all these cars dinged up, all the hail damage. It's not something I dealt with much in New England. I mean, sure, you get hail, but out here it's rough.
Yeah.
With the hailstorms. I mean, my dad bought a CRV, and that thing got pelted with hail like the first month he owned it. He took it into the shop, got it completely repaired. 2 weeks later, got completely smashed with hail again.
Damn.
Brand new.
That sucks.
Oh, yeah, pretty rough, man. But that's what you get. That's just the weather's wild everywhere.
Yeah.
It is. So I didn't do too much research. That's my bad. But you started a podcast recently.
Oh yeah.
Well, tell us a little bit about that. Close us out.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's totally separate from PolitIQ, and that's because it is intentionally like provocative. So it's called "Prove Me Wrong, Please," and basically the premise is I make an argument that's intentionally sort of like attention grabbing and provocative, and encourage anyone listening to reach out to me at the end of the episode via email so we can schedule a time to have a follow-up conversation so that I can kind of like give my thoughts, give someone the opportunity to like digest those thoughts, and then sort of respond in like a rebuttal that we can record. And it's another way of me trying to kind of facilitate the conversation around politics. All the episodes are focused on pretty contentious issues related to politics. My most recent episode, for example, which I got a lot of blowback from a particular friend of mine on Facebook, was titled "Fox News is the most dangerous organization in history."
I think I listened to that.
Yeah?
Yeah, I saw you put that up, and I could see people were commenting on it, getting a little
For sure.
excited.
And, yeah, but that's exactly the kind of response I want. Because
Sure.
I feel like, PolitIQ, it's very nonpartisan, obviously, and this is more my attempt to be like, all right, no, I see that there's a lot of people out there who react more to like anger and like hyperbolic language. I want to appeal to those people now by creating an episode with that sort of title that I'm sure elicits like a pretty angry response with a lot of people, understandably. But at least like it draws those people into the conversation that otherwise would not be all that interested.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, that's not something that I've been like putting like too much effort into at the moment, in part because like when I actually launched it, after recording like 2 episodes, I realized that I'd accidentally deleted the Word document full of like notes that I had been like compiling over like years, basically just like little stupid rants, like political thoughts and whatnot, with a bunch of
Your
sources.
brainchild, though.
Yeah, essentially, that it had like what would have been like my outline for every episode. I realized that I somehow deleted it when like trying to make space on my computer for something. Yeah,
Bummer.
so, yeah, that sucks.
Took the wind out of your sails a little bit.
For sure, yeah. But also, I was like more focused on trying to like promote PolitIQ, and when I like was unable to find someone to help out with marketing, like that takes up a whole amount of time, as you guys are like pretty aware.
Yeah.
And so it's the podcast, which I definitely encourage anyone listening to check out. And if any of like what I say like bothers you, reach out. I am by no means a snowflake. I am liberal, but like I am very open to like hearing opposing arguments, and that's essentially like what the podcast is trying to do, like trying to facilitate that conversation that is often like pretty uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, we were talking about that not too long ago, how, people that have such polarizing opinions, but, that platform, prove me wrong. It was
Prove me
wrong, please.
Prove me wrong, please.
And I know the title alone sounds kind of like, fuck you, I'm right, you're wrong. But like, it literally is like me asking, like, no, please, like, prove me wrong, because I'm genuinely interested in like what you have to say.
Well, if people have listened to you, then, because people will read anything the way that they want to read it.
Yeah.
But when I hear it in your voice, like, I don't. It doesn't come off condescending.
Yeah,
And-
but I mean,
but
yeah.
that's a good platform though, man, because we were talking about how people need to. We don't have to agree, but if we could still talk about things, then that's gonna help people come together. Even if we're never on the same side exactly, we can still be with each other, you know, and
Yeah.
and live with each other without all this crazy, you know,
Yeah.
polar, you know.
Have people been responding and engaging with your episodes?
Yeah, but for the most part, it's been people just kind of like messaging me like their thoughts and whatnot, but not wanting to actually engage
in the
like,
convo.
or so I've had a few conversations like off the air, I guess, with people who just like don't want to be recorded, and that's totally
Off
fine.
the record, yeah.
I do offer like, look, I don't need to say your name or like tag you or anything, so it can be like completely anonymous on your end, because like I understand like people don't necessarily want to have their thoughts like, you know, shared with my audience and whatnot. And then there have been others who have like responded super angrily, but like refused to actually like listen to the argument, and that's kind of annoying.
Yep.
Because like the whole point of this is that like, look, I every day listen to arguments that I completely disagree with, but like I'm making an effort to actually like try to hear what they have to say before coming up with my rebuttal, and I think that that is something that like everyone needs to do. And if you just like read the title of something and base your rebuttal solely on that, then that's just kind of like a cop out. And that being said, I am planning on talking to a few folks who are actually in my fraternity next week in rebuttal to that episode, who I'm sure one of them has not actually listened to it, but I'm still looking forward to actually like having that conversation, because like at the end of the day, like what is there to lose? Like I'm not like, I'm fine changing my position. Like that's the whole point. Like I'm trying to approach it like a scientist. Like here's my thoughts based on like my evidence. I'm willing to be wrong. Just like prove to me why I'm wrong. If that makes sense.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think it's a good way to you know, approach it, because it goes back to what we talked about in the beginning, how people are pretty selective on what they read, what they choose to believe. You know, the articles that come across, I only listen to Fox News. So of course those guys are probably going to get a little bit riled up by that. But yeah, it goes. I mean, I think it's all propaganda, especially the mainstream. You know?
Yeah. I mean, news media, man, it's tough. Like it's not. Like I said, I'm really looking forward to just kind of like tuning out, and
getting past all of this.
refocusing on my what was my part-time job with this like solar company after the election, because I need a break, to be honest. Yeah.
Well, yeah, you've been in the trenches taking grenades, so to speak, on the forefront of this, you know, being that you have to constantly sift through the debris looking for content and good stuff to engage everybody with that we haven't already been, you know, exposed to on a daily, scrolling through Twitter and stuff like that. I really like what you do. It's a cool way to not only capitalize on what's happening around us, but put it into a fun, engaging way where it's not just being attacked. So much, you know, I'm a gun guy, so I get a lot of gun propaganda.
Yeah.
You know, fear stuff. Vote. They're going to take away your guns. Sure, it does. It gets you a little bit riled up. You see what's going on with ammo and this and that. But it's Second Amendment's not going anywhere.
For sure. And so, like, speaking of gun rights, like 95% of people are for common sense gun reform, like universal background checks. I think that's more like 90%.
Yeah.
But like there is room for debate, like healthy debate with people who might not like guns but are still pro Second Amendment, or even people who are like very pro Second Amendment but like understand that like we need a few more like safeguards in place so that like some whack job can't just like go buy a gun and shit like that.
Sure,
Like,
I
that's
agree
like a
with that.
perfect example of like there is so much common ground. And yet, like, if you just like constantly focus on like social media and stuff, like you would imagine that like that common ground just like does not exist. And I think with most issues, the vast majority of people are sort of like on the same page and actually have pretty similar beliefs. But if you, again, are on social media all day, then you're kind of led to believe that like the opposing person is like the worst of their nature, instead of like believing like they're better angel.
Yeah, no, I think you nailed it. Yeah, because it truly comes down to that there's that barrier, the keyboard warriors. When I sit down with people of opposing beliefs, I got a lot of friends on the left, a lot of hardcore libs. I got a lot of hardcore conservative friends, and when we sit down and chat, we end up agreeing more than we disagree.
Yeah.
Whereas if it's done in a social media setting, it gets a little bit more heated, or even just over a text. Here's an article on this. Oh, well, fuck you. But we could sit down, have a beer, whatever, and chat it out. It is amazing how close we are in the same beliefs.
Yeah.
And I hope that we can get back to that at some point.
Yeah, I mean, I think we're getting there. I mean, on that note, like I feel bad because like I've definitely been that person a few times to like say some things to like, old high school buddies or whatever that I think definitely crossed the line. But I've never I've never been the person to like unfriend someone who posts stuff that I disagree with, because I just think that's like, again, just like a cop out. Like,
It is.
What is that doing? That's solving nothing.
Right.
Because then you're kind of like excommunicating yourself from like their conversation.
And then you're catering your news feed to your own opinion instead of hearing other ones.
For sure.
And I think that's what a lot of people have done.
Yeah.
You know,
And
on
that's
both
awesome.
sides.
Yeah, for sure. It's a total bipartisan issue.
Yeah, it really is. But man, could there be more of a, crazy year leading up to the craziest election?
Honestly, man, this year is so fucked. Like, I swear to God, like, an alien invasion next month would just be like, all right, it's 2020.
Well,
Like,
they do.
we get it. Like,
What was it? The Navy or the Air Force did release that video that was
UFO
from like
footage.
2014.
Yeah,
They're
of,
like,
the-
this is a UFO, and they
Yeah.
like said it. The military did.
Sure.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, the Pentagon. Yeah.
I believe in aliens. I don't know if I believe in like aliens that visit us, but I definitely believe that there's aliens, like that there's life on another planet
Oh, yeah,
somewhere.
for sure.
There's just too many mathematical uncertainties to say for sure this is it.
Yeah.
It's just
Do you guys see it? Like Neil deGrasse Tyson posted something that like an asteroid. It's like tiny, like the size of like a refrigerator.
I did
like
see
in-
that. It's
so
supposed to hit on election day or something.
Yeah, but like hit is kind of a strong word. It's gonna burn up in the atmosphere. But
Right.
like yeah. I mean, speaking of aliens, again, you should watch Battle LA because it's a good,
I've seen Battle of LA.
Yeah.
What's
yeah,
that
that's
on?
a good one.
Netflix.
I'm pretty sure it's
Is
on
it? I think
Netflix.
Netflix.
It
And
came out like in the 2010s, somewhere
Yeah.
around there.
Battle.
Yeah.
It sounds familiar.
You should
You've
check it
probably
out.
seen
I'm
it.
always looking for new shit to watch. So
Check it out. It's a good movie.
That is a good one.
hell yeah.
Yeah. Well, everybody tuning in, definitely go check out Polit IQ.
Yes.
Daily questions.
So there's a 5-question trivia quiz posted daily. So if you have like 3 minutes and you're just like, all right, shit, I didn't pay attention to the news yesterday, or even like the previous week, you can just log into your account. Super easy. If you add it to your phone, to your mobile home screen, it functions like an app. Otherwise, you can just use it on your desktop like a website. You answer those 5 questions. It gives some context, a little source, so that you can like see where I'm pulling my information. If you contest a question, you get more points than you would if you just answered it correctly. So you can call me out on my shit, or you can even like submit your own questions and get even more points. So that if you have any sort of if you think it's like biased in any means, like I'm incentivizing you to submit your own questions. Another thing I'll say is we recently. About a month ago, started like a weekly trivia competition hosted via Zoom. I used to do this monthly, but given that we're so close to the election, it's now weekly. You don't need to have a free account on politiqtrivia.com in order to participate, but you should follow me on either Instagram, Twitter, or Facebook, because on all those profiles I have the Zoom link to actually participate in that trivia competition. That lasts about like 30 minutes. Again, it's hosted via Zoom by this guy named Dan, who is kind of like a comedic actor, and it just focuses on the major headlines from that week. And it's called PolitiQ Trivia's Week in Review. And so, like, again, like if you didn't really pay attention to politics but want like a quick summary or synopsis of the major headlines from that week, you can just like tune into this game show. It's like pub trivia style, so that like your camera and video are disabled, but you just submit your answers via Zoom chat, and you compete against like whoever else is joining on that particular Zoom call. And the winner gets $5 and like a special prize. And so like the most recent prize was a hat that said "Voting Matters."
Nice.
Hell yeah.
And then those videos are edited and uploaded to PolitiQ's YouTube channel. So
Excellent.
yeah.
We'll try to include some of that in the links down below.
Cool.
So people can find you a little bit easier.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And definitely try to prove our boy wrong here. Listen to what he's saying.
prove me wrong, please.
Yeah.
In the least condescending or patronizing way ever. Yeah.
Check out Prove Me Wrong Please podcast.
Well, that's a lot of P's.
And
It is a lot of
Prove Me
people.
Wrong,
and
Please podcast.
listen to what he's saying. Listen to his key points. Come up with something that is, a good combative or even different takes on what he's saying, and sit down and have a conversation, man. This is how people of opposite sides can help get together. And, I think it's important for people to listen to that. So I encourage people to get involved for sure.
Absolutely. Sounds like a lot of fun, man, for
And
sure.
even if you don't want to get involved, like, or have a conversation with me, just like have these awkward conversations with your friends also.
Yeah.
People that you're more comfortable with, because like at the end of the day, like if you just kind of push it under the rug, then like what is that really solving?
True.
Absolutely. Yeah. He's opening up the discussion. Hang out with your mates, have a couple beers, listen to it. We got the election coming. There's going to be, there's going to be a lot of tension coming up. There's going to be a lot of things coming up. We're just along for the ride.
I should say I am wearing a vote shirt also.
Oh, yeah, let's see that.
If you haven't voted and you're living in, I guess anywhere. Just make sure you guys vote.
Yeah,
as well.
everybody go vote. I still need to do it. Kevin already voted.
Yeah,
you
I'm
got
voted.
your ballot today, so
I
you're
got
gonna
it today.
vote.
Yeah,
Mine's submitted.
Yeah.
I'm done.
Let's do
Oh,
it.
yeah, nice.
Yep.
Let's believe and achieve electing our next president.
Yep.
You know?
All of our elected officials.
Yeah, let's believe and achieve that. Everybody, do your part. Get your voice out there. Keep working hard. It's awesome that you stuck with all everything and you've been putting time and love into it, man. We're so happy to see you being successful with that. 8 months later or whatever.
Yeah.
So great having you back in here, man. Who we got next again? It's
Yeah, we got Jacqueline in
Jacqueline
studio
next week.
Next week, she does a lot of things. Does a little bit of music, a little bit of outdoors stuff, a little bit of horses. So excited to wrap out Sober October. One more to go. So this was a good one, man. This one could have gone a long time. I felt like we could have just kept chatting.
Thanks a lot for having me back, guys. Much appreciated.
Yeah, and we'll follow up on you maybe in 2021. We'll get you back. See what's going on.
Literally always down. I'm always down to talk politics or
Hell
just
yeah.
shoot the shit. Yeah.
Let's do it, man. That's the beauty of it. And as you guys know, be sure to follow us on all social media platforms. If you're watching on YouTube, be sure to hit that subscribe button so you never miss an episode. Head on over to Patreon. Sign up over there for a little bit of bonus content. Patreon/DCPC. Teespring.com/DCPC for some merchandise. All kinds of good things going up on there. discussioncombustion.com. Be sure to join the discussion over there. Send in your Would You Rathers, your Word of the Week, whatever you guys are thinking. And, of course, be sure to check out Connor over there at PolitIQ Trivia. Check out his podcast, Prove Me Wrong, Please. Get involved with that. That's a lot of fun. It's been another good one, man.
It's been a great one. Let's finish out the week strong. Let's keep the love alive within ourselves, and let's forgive ourselves if we make a mistake. Talking to you, Jeff. You don't have to keep try to finish the month strong, man. It's okay to slip, have a little slippy.
That's right.
So let's keep it strong.
We're on the home stretch, man. So, and on that note, Connor, great to see you, my friend.
Thanks, guys.
Yep.
Appreciate it.
Until next time, y'all be good to yourselves. You deserve it.